here live on location, remote with AmberLee Venti.
Hi.
AmberLee, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
She's a passionate mom of two, an advocate. She's a pip, a career problem solver, and she's recently turned her attention to helping women with breastfeeding and pumping through an innovative product and service, making the breast milk cooling and storing easier for all breastfeeders. Did you ever think, Amberly, that this would be your calling?
No, I could
That
have never expected
you'd
it.
be daily talking about breast milk?
No, definitely not.
So,
Yeah.
how did you get here? And like when? At what point was it when you were like, "This is it"? Was there like a breakthrough moment that just like changed, and you're like, and I guess we should take a step back before that. You want to spend a second talking about what it is that you guys are now bringing to market and how we got you on Product Search Live and what you showcase?
Sure. Yep. So we are Pippy Sips. We are trying to make pumping accessible to all breastfeeders and feeders. And the first step in that mission is our patented product Maia, which is a storing, cooling, and monitoring system for breast milk. It's a great product. It attaches directly to industry leading pumps, so mom can pump right into it. It will then store and keep milk safe for 16 plus hours. And then our really big differentiator is that mom can simply double tap or shake the unit to reveal the temperature to know it's been stored safely. And we just launched in September. So we're really excited to be out in the breastfeeding and pumping world and helping pumping mamas everywhere.
And like, is it that I'm just a dude?
Yeah,
I'm a dude, not married, no kids.
you're a dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I know, like, okay, and I have like some friends who are like, I know there's like an obviously an industry around breast milk
Yep.
and infant formula and feeding children, but um, is there is like is this a big problem?
Yeah, I mean, so you don't know it's a problem usually until you get into it, but breast milk is just like the milk that you it's much different, but the same concept applies, which is, if you are a cow milk drinker, cow milk is something that you have to put in your fridge, right? Or it spoils. And if you go to the grocery store and for some reason your drive takes 8 hours back, you're going to want to know that it was stored safely because you're not going to drink it or give it to your family when you get home if it was not chilled. The same
Yeah, that
goes
makes
for,
sense.
yeah. So breast milk is a perishable liquid, just like cow's milk. It's actually a little hardier of a liquid that people don't know that about. Like it can be at room temperature for 4 hours. But after that, it really should be chilled so that it doesn't spoil and it can be safe for your infant.
Okay,
Yeah, and it's
cool.
it's a big problem because 51% of our population are women and could have babies and could breastfeed and pump. Most moms' average pumping time is 6 to 8 months. We have lower averages here in the U.S. where there's shorter maternity leave, less support for pumping and breastfeeding moms. But about 86% of moms breastfeed.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, and then what was the moment for you when you were like, I need to make something, and here's Pippy Sips. Like, what did that?
So it came from personal experience. I think I like to start my story with my first child, where I didn't actually have the idea for the product, but I had my first kind of issue with breastfeeding and pumping. Um, so one thing I've learned in this journey is nobody's like, sure, you're a dude without kids, so you don't know about these things, but it's actually kind of scary. A lot of women don't know about these things until they have the baby. So I went into having my first child thinking, oh, when she's born, I'm going to breastfeed her. It's going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's this natural, organic, intuitive process. And I was, sadly surprised that she couldn't latch for the first 6 weeks. And I had to work with a lactation consultant that wasn't covered by my health insurance and cost over $100 an hour. I had to work with them for 6 weeks to help my small baby figure out how to latch. And it was, there was a lot of tears on my baby's part, but also on my part because I was sleep deprived. I didn't know what I was doing, and it just didn't come as naturally as I thought. So that's first baby. second baby, I was working. So I've worked in mental health my whole adult career. And by the time I had my second baby, I was in a leadership position and I was running an outpatient mental health clinic in Kensington, Philadelphia, which I'm sure many people know this, but the opiate epidemic hit Kensington very badly. And so right when I got back from maternity leave of having my second daughter, we were like right in the throes of the opiate epidemic. So my job was really hard because I was running this clinic and people were coming in either high on opiates or withdrawing from opiates. They would shoot up in our bathroom and we'd have to make sure they were alive, possibly Narcan them, all sorts of fun stuff. And it was my job to make sure everybody was safe and got the services they needed. Now, on top of that, I was also trying to pump and store milk, which is already fraught with barriers. Like it's not easy. It's, your pump has a million parts. You have to find a plug. You have to find private space. You have to find time. You have to clean your parts, all that. So in the midst of that, I was trying to pump. And one of the hardest things about pumping for me was the room where we had the work fridge where I would have stored the milk was in the room where we did group therapy. So it was not always appropriate for me to go in there and store my milk. And then sometimes my milk actually got stuck in there, like a group would start, but my milk was in there. So it was kind of like held hostage and I couldn't knock on the door and be like, can I have my breast milk, please? So that was an ongoing issue for me. And then I also kind of hated walking the hallways with my see-through milk bottles. Not all dudes are created equal. And I've worked with plenty of dudes that were just super uncomfortable and like couldn't even make eye contact with me when I had my milk bottles. So one day I looked at my Swell stainless steel water bottle and I thought we should make something like this, but for breast milk. And that was the beginning of this very long journey in making a hardware product. And then 5.5 years later, we launched.
Yeah, hardware is hard.
Yes, exactly. It's so hard. And especially during a global pandemic when there's all sorts of supply chain issues. Yeah, microchips, stainless steel. We had to kind of search the world far and wide for most materials to make our product.
All right. Well, that's awesome. It just speaks about the tenacity and the curiosity and then the discipline to execute that you obviously as an entrepreneur have put together. But this isn't even your full-time gig. I mean, you run this clinic that you mentioned.
I'm actually not there anymore, but so my full-time gig is Pippy Sips now, but I actually do see clients. I do private practice psychotherapy. I see like 8 to 10 clients a week. So I'm managing many things as moms like to do. 2 kids, 2 jobs, all of that.
And how has your experience in the medical profession kind of championed you as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's funny. I think when you're in the startup world and you don't come from like a business background, you get like that imposter syndrome and you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything, da, 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 da. But actually, when you work in the medical world, especially in community behavioral health, like where you're low resourced, low funded, you're trying to solve problems every single day, every minute of the day. What better preparation for being an entrepreneur, which I would have never like put together until I was in the heat of it and was like, oh, this is like kind of similar to running a mental health clinic. Like I just have to figure out how to do the most with the most little, right? Every day. Yeah.
And then how many years has it been? Pippy Sips.
Of Pippy Sips, we are going to be 6 years in May. So we're a couple of months away from 6 years. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so like, are you happy that you made the jump to full time? Has this been like everything that you thought it would be, or are you like, where's your head at?
Yeah. There was a long time I had a full-time job and then Pippy Sips was like my quote side hustle. But that was when we were pre-revenue, pre-product. So it made more sense. And then in July, I knew that we were launching like any day. So I put my notice in at work and made the leap. And it feels much better because I'm able to put like all of my attention and focus on Pippy Sips so we can run business as smoothly as possible as you can when you're a startup. There's always that caveat. Yeah, no, it feels good to be able to hone my energy in. But entrepreneurship is exhausting. I mean, the highs are high, the lows are lows, and you have to learn to kind of ride the wave and not let those lows get you too low. So I think that's been a little eye opening.
Have you been involved in like the Philadelphia entrepreneurial scene? Do you like the support network that the community here has put together? Has that helped you at all?
Yeah, I think our biggest entree into that scene was when we got into the University Science Center Launch Lane
Mhm.
Accelerator, which that was kind of like a wild experience because we started March 12th, I want to say, so of 2020. So like we started that program and like the pandemic hit.
Oh my God.
So it was supposed to be all in person. So I think our first meeting was in person, but it was right when the news of COVID hit. So I remember we were in the room and like some of the people in the room were very afraid, like because we still didn't know what was really
It
happening.
was those early days, and
Yeah,
everyone's like, "Do I need a mask? I don't." Yeah, and where do you get a mask?
exactly. Yeah. And like the grocery stores, I remember I left that meeting and was like, okay, I need to get some groceries because people are talking about groceries will be hard to come by. And there was this like line around the block kind of thing. But anyways, the Science Center Accelerator, we went virtual, but it still ended up being very impactful, very invaluable to us. The mentorship that we got, the support we got, because I think going into the pandemic as a business, you're just like, I don't know if this is going to work out. So we just got really, really good support, and they've supported us along the way. And then we've been involved in, they don't, I don't know if they do it anymore. We've done a little bit of the Comcast Lifts Labs, female founders and funders. That was a nice support system. The Temple SBDC has helped us quite a bit. We've gotten a lot of support actually from Bucks County. We're part of the Bucks Built program out of Bucks County. And that's been a great support along the way.
There's so much support for especially women-owned businesses.
Yeah,
You guys have like I tell like any woman who's got like the inkling to go start something, go do it
yeah,
because there's so much opportunity for these for women.
yeah,
It's actually pretty awesome. And women and minorities have like a lot of like just grants and funds, and there's a lot of designations too for like even things like military contracts where they have to have a certain threshold of like business from small business or women run business or minority run businesses. They get like a leg up. So that's again really incredible to hear about how you've kind of capitalized on your position here in the market and everything else that's out there. I mean, hey Joe, can we queue up Pippy Sips on Product Search Live when you get a chance? So what I want to do, I want to talk a little bit about your experience with Product Search Live and you know how this has all shaken out. It's been a couple weeks,
yep.
since we had you on the show. Did you enjoy your experience? And what do you think? What has been the outcome from it? Have you put the footage to use yet, or where's your head at there?
It was such a good experience. We had such a good experience with, I mean, the production value was, as soon as I walked on set, I was like, oh, wow, this is like, because I don't know if I've ever been on a set that professional. So it was very impressive. And here's Albany. There was no reason to be nervous because Albany just like carries you. She's just like, she does the pitch. I mean, I was just an accessory to Albany, I think, right here.
Have you done like live sales before? Or was this your first time like going on camera like this?
No, this was my first time doing live sales. I've done plenty of pitching, pitching to investors or pitch competitions, but that's much different. This
Now
selling.
this is this. Oh, go on.
Oh no, yeah, selling a product live. This is the first time we've ever done that.
And this is the Maya device right here that we're looking at, right?
Yes, this is you can see how it connects to the industry leading pump. You can see the outer container, the vacuum sealed stainless steel container that helps to keep it cold. Yeah, and it looks really nice, I think. Or if I don't say so myself, it
Yeah,
looks
it's
very
beautiful.
nice. Yeah.
And that's kind of my question is, who designed this for you?
That's a great question. So we worked with an amazing gentleman named Daniel Chu from Pragmatic. That's his company name, but he we contracted with him to design Maia. And he is really, he's an industrial engineer, but he's also really an artist in many ways. Yeah, and along the way, some of the functionality, we worked with other types of engineers to get the functionality working, like the thermo lid and the cooling function. But really, I like praise Daniel Chu for the beauty of Maia. And that was always an intention that we had with Maia from the beginning, which is, of course, we wanted a super functional, super safe and quality product, but we wanted it to be a thing of beauty. Moms are often forgotten when they have babies. Like everybody loves to buy a present for baby, right? Because baby's cute and all that. But we wanted mom to have something that made her feel good and that was beautiful and went in her purse or her work bag or sat on her desk and made her feel good and confident. So yeah.
Where did the name Maya come from?
That's a great question. We went back and forth about names because our daughters are Layla and Faye. So we were like, should it be Fayla or LaFay? Something ridiculous like that. And then finally, we did want it to be a female oriented name. And so Maya is this really great name because it means things in different languages. So it means mother, it means bravery, it means love. And so, kind of every meaning in each language that you find the word in has this really beautiful meaning that spoke to the values and mission of our company. Yeah.
All right, and as for like the electronics and stuff, you probably went through a lot of prototyping here, of course, right?
Yep. So the thermo lid, and the thermo lid still is a little bit of a headache for us, but the thermo lid, we went through a lot of prototyping. It, you know, between trying to figure out how it would display the temperature, so the double tap, we had to think about that, but we also didn't want the temperature. We didn't want like a slight movement of the product to make the temperature revealed because then you're going to drain battery life. Then we also had the idea if the milk is really cold, it will say BRR, and if it's too hot, it will say HOT. But the real headache with the thermo lid was actually not the engineering, but it is the microchip, which we are in a microchip shortage in
Wow.
the world right now. And we are a small, scrappy startup, long down the list of names who orders microchips. Bigger companies like Nintendo or Porsche, they're like a little higher up. They order way more than we do. So that continues to kind of be this global supply chain issue that affects us. And we are deep into problem solving in right now.
So from now post show, you mentioned you've sold out of product
Yeah, we have.
since coming on a couple weeks ago. And what's next? Like, where do you take Maya from here? I mean, obviously, you can take pre-sales now for the next batch. I'm sure you have coming
Yes.
in, but where do you go with this?
Yeah. One thing that we did this past month, we worked with the Sawtooth Consulting Group to do a survey of our users and potential users to get a sense of what they like about the product, what they don't like about the product, what they'd like to see in future products, just kind of how they value each functionality of the product, so that we can have a sense of where we are and where we're going. I think there's tons of room for more innovation. We see a Maya 2.0, we see a Maya 3.0. So we're really thinking about that. One thing that we would like to do in 2023, and as our goal as we increase our order size, is we're going to decrease the price. It is a premium product.
How much does it cost?
And so it's $124.99. But our goal in 2023 is to bring it closer to $100.
Nice. All right, and you've never like done hardware before. This is your first product you've taken to market, right?
Yes. Yes. Hardware is, yeah.
And how the patent process goes? Because now you got your patent
We have our patent. We were awarded our utility patent in November 2021,
after how many
which
years of filings and work? It was like a pain in the butt, wasn't it?
I think that was like a 3 to 4 year process. And even when we had filed it, the patent office is very behind, and you can file your patent, but it might be 1 to 2 years till you hear from them.
Is that what happened to you guys?
What?
Is that what happened to you?
Yeah, I think we filed. It took it wasn't a full year. I remember we were pleasantly surprised when we found out about it. We were like, oh, that was sooner than we thought it would happen. But shout out to Riverside Law in King of Prussia. They were the ones who helped us file the utility patent. And then shout out to Professor Cynthia Dahl at Penn IP Clinic. They also helped us file for our trademark. And then we've also filed a patent for our source code that's in the thermolid. And they've been a huge support in the journey. We love Professor Dahl. I don't know if
That's
she'll listen to
great.
this, but she's great.
She
Yeah.
better listen to this. This is awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's really neat. So then, like, okay, so and then who's the breakdown of your team? I mean, obviously you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but who else you got over there working with you?
We have a very small team. Another goal for 2023 is to expand the team. The team is really me and my co-founder, who's my husband. And he's really in charge of kind of like vendor management operations. He's a lawyer also. So, he keeps his eyes out on the legal stuff, which, as you know, comes up all the time when you're in a startup.
Yeah.
And then, I'm really the vision of the company, but also marketing and branding is my jam. I've learned a lot along the way in that field.
And how's it working with your husband as a co-founder partner? You love it?
uh, do I love it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we spent the other day, it was like a Saturday. We were counting inventory together.
Well, it's got to be
And
hard though, because like usually people have that work-life balance. In this case, your life and your work are so commingled that it's like I can imagine it being challenging just to always just put stuff down and just not and ignore it and focus on everything else when you're so mixed up and everything. Does that make sense, or do you guys find
yeah,
time to
yeah, of
actually?
course. Yeah, it can be very hard. It takes a lot of communication, I think. That's one of the main things is like we're just communicating all the time, which can be exhausting. We already have two kids that take a lot of communication and problem solving and scheduling and all that stuff. So, sometimes it can be hard and exhausting, but then you also have to remember to really like celebrate the wins so that like being a founder, you're always in it, you're always problem solving. So like what are the moments, like we just sold out today, we're going to go out, we have both our kids are going to slumber parties tomorrow. Our kids have reached this age where we don't have to pay a babysitter, they have slumber parties. So we're going to go out to dinner at this place we've been wanting to go, and we're going to celebrate. And so you have to kind of remove yourself from all that intense problem solving, which can feel draining and negative at times, so that you can celebrate together.
What's been your biggest mistake in bringing this product to light?
That's a great question. Biggest mistake. Uh, I mean, we had some fumbles along the way. I don't know if it's like our biggest mistake, but like sometimes we've had some fumbles along the way in like manufacturing. And for example, like we were supposed to launch last April and we didn't end up launching till September because one of the vendors we worked with, we they were vetted by somebody we were working with, but they didn't end up being a great vendor. And the product, the inner plastic bottle that they made, when we tested it for BPA, it had a high level of BPA, so we could not send that product out. And that was a very expensive mistake. It was a very emotionally draining mistake. And we were trying to make something work that wasn't going to work.
Mm.
So I think just manufacturing, you have to really, really, I think it's best to manufacture with vendors that other companies that have used that vendor, and just really vet them properly. And also quality testing is super important. Like, yeah, I think that has probably been one of the roughest parts of this journey. And
And
timing has always been an issue for us. Just I think that would be the last thing I would say is like, like put your effort and time into working each day to bring your idea to life. But like if you're too soon for certain things, don't do it. Like, tell yourself it's okay to just say no. Like,
Right.
manage your time in that way. Because we were pre-product for so long, and we would just try to make these business moves way too preemptively.
And then now you have the product. It's real. You know.
Yeah,
So
now that we have it, it's real. But it's interesting, even as we prepare for second product, I think I learned that from our second round. I learned from our first round that, like, there's certain contracts I want to pursue, but like not to start that until I know when my second round will be ready,
right.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Are there any going to
Yeah.
be any updates or changes to the next batch, or is it going to be just a cookie cutter copy of the original?
The color, so our rose gold has this that we changed the color a little bit. It's a lot, our lovely artist of an engineer really honed in on the color. Then we also, rookie mistake, but we didn't put the name of our product on our product.
Oh
We
wow,
just put our brand name, because our brand name is Pippy Sips, and then the product name is
Maia.
Maia. So we had all these users being like, my Pippy Sips, which
Yeah, I'm
so
guilty of the same mistake. I hadn't really heard I knew Pippy Sips, but I was calling it Pippy Sips for too long.
yeah. So we put Maia by Pippy Sips on it. And there might be some changes in the thermo lid. That's one thing we're working on right now. But TBD.
Wow.
And
All
we're
right.
going to up the, oh, sorry. The last thing that we are going to do, though, is we will be upselling the inner plastic bottle and the cooling puck. So, like, you can buy your Maya unit, but if you want extras, we're going to set our e-commerce up in that fashion. Yeah.
And where can I? Is it only online, or are these in retail locations too?
So we sell predominantly online, but you can also buy here in Philadelphia at Minnow Lane and Fishtown. And then if you're in Little Falls, Minnesota, for people who live there, we sell it at Babies on Broadway there.
Now, how come that of all places, Minnesota? What they just
They
found
reached
you and
out
they
to
said we
us.
want it?
They found us. Yeah. Yeah.
That's be great.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I really don't have anything. We covered a lot of ground here.
We
I feel like it's
did.
like 30 minutes already.
I
Is
know.
there
It went by very quickly.
is there anything that like you want to talk about that like kind of impacted you as an entrepreneur? Like who was your mentor, like entrepreneurial lead? Because like I said earlier, I mean maybe it's your husband's been a good compliment with the legal background, but who like kind of like put that little itch in your head that brings something to market and create and actually be an artist in your own right?
It's funny. Adriana from Lilu, who was on Product Search Live, being a female entrepreneur is sure there's lots of, you know, grants and pitch competitions and stuff like that are accessible. But sometimes in the like VC investor world, it's pretty like soul crushing sometimes, especially when you're doing a femtech product, because you're usually pitching to dudes who don't know about breast milk and why it needs to be stored safely. So I always do try to have a female that they're either my mentor or I'm really following in their footsteps. And Adriana Vasquez from Lilu, which is a pumping support bra, provides massage to help milk output. But anyway, she's always been like 12 steps ahead of me. And I try to find female entrepreneurs like that, because sometimes when you're in it, you're like, how do I take the next step? So it's good to know somebody who's many steps ahead of you. So Adriana has been really great. She's on whenever I text or email her, she's totally willing to.
I met her in Dream It when they were first starting
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
at the Science Center.
At the Science Center. Yeah. I think she
Talk
told
about
me
full
that.
circle there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I got this. I met her and I was so blown away with her because first I was like, a bra that pumps breast milk? Yeah, it's a pumping bra. I go, and I was a dude then. I was
Right,
like,
right.
it was just like a very foreign concept. And then she started showing me the economics of women and I didn't realize it, but the demographic that spends the most online retail is women,
Yeah.
specifically
Yeah.
pregnant women. And I
Yeah,
guess
exactly.
they're the top content creators. They spend the most dollars per purchase on average online, and
Yep.
they're incredibly loyal and the mommy blogger network are like the most. If something works, you can't get better marketing. The
Yeah,
virality that can be
exactly.
spurred from mothers is just something in most cases you can't pay for. So the
Yeah,
fact that
exactly.
you check all these right boxes it's really impressive. You should be really proud of yourself. And I
Oh,
certainly am happy you were able to join us on PSL and to get the word out because it definitely your hard work, your grit, your tenacity is exemplary. And the fact you guys sold out speaks for itself.
yes, yes. Thank you very much. Yes, a day to celebrate.
Is there anything you want to? What's your website? If anyone watching this wants to go check you out.
So we're www.pippysips.com. So pretty easy to find. Yeah, and check us out. Register for our newsletter. We send out a pretty regular newsletter. You get a discount with if you register for it, you get a 15% discount. And or follow us on social media. Our handle is Pippy Sips on pretty much all the channels: Facebook, Instagram. We are deep in TikTok lately. We've been doing a lot of TikTok, so please
Do you
follow
have
our
like
journey.
a loyal fan who's like your super fan who loves your product and is your favorite person ever?
um, yeah, we have our one customer, which she's a little bit of a public figure. I don't think she would care. Her name is Hannah, and she actually lives in Italy on an army base. Her husband is in the army, and so when she first ordered Maya, we were like, whoa, like this is a US Army base in Italy. What, like, whoa. And she loves the product. She's a first time mom, and she like is traveling Italy. She was recently in Milan with the product and like held up Maya next to one of the famous buildings there. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but yeah, and she's just always like posting about how much she loves the product and how much it's helped her. Yeah, she's a true ambassador. We love her, and I think she loves us. So
I
yeah,
love that. And it's just neat showing how you've had your crazy idea here now is impacting others and bringing smiles around the world. It's pretty
yeah,
exceptional.
very cool. Yeah, we recently just sent two Mayas to an army base in Guam.
Oh my God, go AmberLee.
Yeah, I
All
know.
right,
I don't
well,
know.
you want to get more into retail? You keep more of a direct consumer play.
So 2023, I can't say anything yet, but we're looking to launch in a major retailer and kind of start to explore that. Most of our business is direct to consumer right now, so retailers a little different from us because it's a new novel product. So in the retailers, the brick and mortars we're in now that are a little smaller, we can talk to the store owners, and we have learned that a lot of times people walk in and they're like, what is this? So I think it will help to be in a major retailer, get some more exposure, and kind of get that mass understanding of a breast milk cooling and storing device, which right now they're, sure, we have a cult following, but you couldn't ask any person on the street, like, what's the Maya by Pippy Sips, and they would know what it is. So,
You got that right. It's still
but
pretty
we'll get
niche,
there.
of course. What about your
Yeah.
therapy? Before we hop off here, being a therapist, is that are you looking for more new clients, more clients? Are you got like a full book? Is this like more of like a hobby gig thing, side thing that gives you a break from your Pippy Sips here, or how are you treating your therapy?
So I kind of have a full caseload right now. A lot of we are a revenue producing business, but obviously as a startup, a lot of the time you put a lot of that revenue right back into the company. So I still have to make a little bit of a living. I pay a mortgage and I have two kids to be, real world about it. But I love being a therapist. It brings great joy to me. I see um, a really nice. I love all my clients, and they're just it's nice to see people grow, help them grow, be a support to people. I work with a lot of women. I work with mothers. Obviously, I can empathize a lot with what mothers are going through, and it's just really meaningful work, and you know, it's more fuel to the fire that I got going.
Okay. Well, I got nothing else to tell you other than thank you for coming on and popping on the Global Grove with me, and
Yes.
that's it. Any final words?
I don't know.
Gotta go out strong. Give me something good.
I know, I know. The last thing I would probably say is if you are a pumping or breastfeeding mom, give yourself a break where you can. Moms are really hard on themselves, and you know, just do what you can to take care of your mental health, because you have to take care of yourself so you can take care of your child or children. So it's always something I like to say.
All right. Well, thanks, AmberLee.
Yeah, thank you.